Today on Rock the Park, we're hiking on concrete trails and kayaking through urban canyons.
Man, this is beautiful.
We're exploring New York City's national parks and monuments that tell a story of immigration. From the most famous point of entry,
that had to be just complete chaos,
to the neighborhoods that grew up as they made a new life for themselves.
Oh wow, tight quarters.
Yes, it is.
We're checking out the symbol of hope that still draws people to our shores, and we're seeing it just like our ancestors did.
This is nuts.
And it all starts right now.
Whoa!
I'm Jack Stewart.
This is the real deal.
And I'm Colton Smith.
These are mountains!
We've been buddies for years, always in search of the next adventure.
Dude, what was that?
We share a passion for our national parks and other wild places around the world.
Oh my God.
Heading off the beaten path, pushing our limits, and experiencing nature's best-kept secrets.
Here we go!
It's how we rock the park.
Yeah, we've got a ferry over there. We got NYPD. We got another vessel coming towards us up there.
We're in the tiniest boats on the water,
Woo-wee!
dodging and getting tossed in the wake of every bigger one that comes along.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
We're on the Hudson River in New York City, home to national parks and monuments that honor a key chapter of the American story.
Ever since I first came out to New York City, I was just enthralled with this place. New York City is known as the city of immigrants, and immigration is such an important part of what makes our country unique.
We are one giant melting pot. So our trip this time, it's gonna focus on exactly how the immigrants came here and really what life was like.
We'll be checking out 3 national parks, including one where millions of immigrants first officially entered the United States, including maybe mine. We're taking the subway down to Battery Park to hit up a ferry out to Ellis Island.
The ferry takes off from the southern tip of Manhattan across New York Bay to the island. 100 years ago, immigrants arriving in New York would also ride a ferry to Ellis for processing.
Check that out. Absolutely beautiful. We've got downtown Manhattan right there, and off to the left is the Statue of Liberty, just that symbol of freedom.
I've never visited Ellis Island, and this is actually as close to the Statue of Liberty that I've ever been.
Oh, you're gonna get closer.
I know.
The United States is a land of immigrants. All of us, with the exception of Native Americans, are able to trace our roots back to a different country. The biggest immigration boom in U.S. history was from the 1800s to the 1930s. 25 million immigrants came to America. For those entering New York Harbor, the Statue of Liberty offered a symbol of hope and welcome. In those days, nearby Ellis Island was by far the biggest and busiest point of entry for arriving immigrants.
Hey,
Hi, welcome to Ellis Island.
Thank you.
I'm Melissa.
Jack.
Ranger Melissa Magnuson-Kennedy is showing us what it was like to arrive in America for the first time.
Roughly how many immigrants came through Ellis Island?
About 12 million between 1892 and 1924, averaged maybe like 5,000 people a day.
That had to be just, I mean, honestly, complete chaos.
Yeah, maybe organized chaos.
Organized chaos, okay.
They had a system, you know, they had a system.
The first step in that system is right inside the main door.
So right now we're in the baggage room, and this is where immigrants, after they got off the ferry, they would walk in here. They would actually leave their bags, trunks, baskets here in the baggage room. And these are everything you own in the entire world.
Could you imagine having to set down basically this compartment with your whole life in it?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be terrifying. Not to mention, you're probably not speaking the same language as the person who's telling you to drop your bag.
From the baggage room, people climbed the stairs to their next stop. As they went, doctors checked them out. Anyone who showed signs of illness got a chalk mark on their clothing, which meant getting a closer screening.
So this is the registry room, but it was also known as the Great Hall, and you can certainly see why. It's an amazing space.
Yes, you can. Jeez.
This is unbelievable.
The new immigrants would sit here sometimes for hours, waiting until their name was called. These are some of the original benches from more than a century ago.
One thing I'm noticing right away about these benches, it encourages good posture.
Using a ship manifest from 1910, Melissa picks out the name of a Swedish immigrant.
And so he would call up Gustav, and he would just kind of verify some information. Where are you from? Where are you going? what's your occupation?
About 98% of the immigrants who came through Ellis Island were cleared to stay in the U.S. They'd reclaim their bags and head out to begin a new life.
Now, what's interesting is that Gustav is actually my great-great-grandfather.
What? Whoa, that's a twist.
Many people throughout the United States do have ancestors who came through Ellis Island, and I'm lucky enough to actually work in a place that my
That's
ancestor
cool.
came through.
So you get to talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
That's great.
At least 1 in 3 Americans have ancestors who came through Ellis Island. My ancestors mostly came from Ireland, England, and Sweden before 1880, so I don't have an Ellis connection, but Colton might.
But I'm not exactly 100% sure. So, can you help me maybe become sure of it?
Yes, we can. We have over 100 million people that can trace themselves to records here at Ellis Island.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Jackie Schulk helps manage something called the American Family Immigration History Center. It contains information on the thousands of ships that steamed into New York Bay.
We're going into passenger search.
Okay.
Using just my family name, within minutes, Jackie discovers my family's connection to Ellis Island.
We've actually found your great-great-grandfather, Antony Macherowski. How do you pronounce it?
Honestly, I'm not really sure because my mom refers to him as Great-Grandpa Mac.
Okay.
So,
Well, we can call him Great-Grandpa Matt.
why don't we call him that? Yeah.
Okay. And he sailed from Antwerp on September 6, 1929, and arrived in New York on September 15, 1929.
Wow, that's incredible.
I'd always heard that my great-great-grandfather emigrated from Poland, but being here where he first set foot on American soil and went through inspection is kind of overwhelming.
That's the inspector's signature, 2:20 p.m., Ellis Island. Very cool, right?
So cool.
Immigrants arriving at Ellis spread across America, but 1 out of 3 settled right here in New York, at least temporarily.
We're heading to the Lower East Side, to where past immigrants made their mark, and current immigrants are making theirs.
Ooh, oldest cheese store in America?
We're in New York City, exploring some of our most iconic national parks and the history of immigration in America. Today, the Lower East Side of Manhattan is becoming one of New York's trendiest neighborhoods. But for hundreds of years, it was the first stop for immigrants.
When Ellis Island was open, more than 2 million people packed into these few square miles, living in apartment buildings called tenements, like this one at 97 Orchard Street.
Oh, wow. Tight quarters.
Yes, it is.
Built in 1863, it's now a National Historic Site, and Jason Eisner is one of the museum's educators.
We just came from Ellis Island, and he found out he has a great-great-grandfather
No
who
way.
came from Poland through Ellis Island. And would this be a place that he might have started out here in the USA?
Oh, yeah. If you came to the United States, you know, from any place, back in the day, this was like step 1.
By the 1890s, Orchard Street was packed with Polish immigrants. This apartment has been restored to what it looked like when a Polish family named Levine lived here during those years.
This isn't so bad at all. We got multiple rooms.
Right?
I was thinking something really tiny and confined and cramped.
Yeah, but this is a family that they had kids born in this tenement. Plus, they were having a factory in their front room. So this was a very crowded space.
So now I'm imagining this space with 2 parents, 5 kids, and 3 workers, all helping Mr. Levine run a dressmaking factory with no air conditioning.
New York summers are quite hot and quite humid.
You want to add to that heat and humidity that cast iron stove,
Oh.
which would have been on constantly.
The stove was always burning to heat the iron for pressing each new dress.
It can get to be 100 degrees in August here.
Yeah, so
Adding that into the equation?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Over the
that'd be
top.
awful.
And then, you know, you want a drink of water. Where are you going?
I don't know.
To the backyard, okay? You're gonna go outside to get the water.
In those days, about 60% of all women's dresses made in America came from these in-home factories in the Lower East Side. That means thousands of families were living just like this to achieve the American dream.
So it was all about that hope
Yeah.
to then find that better life. It was always maintaining that sense of hope that they'll get there.
Exactly.
And they knew they had the option here to move up.
Up and out. Each wave leaves a mark and moves on. Soon after the Poles, the Italians came and took over the streets just a few blocks east of Orchard, which became known as Little Italy.
Ooh. Oldest cheese store in America? You want to go in?
Yes, I do.
All right.
This is the Aleva Dairy Shop on Mulberry Street.
You guys really the oldest cheese shop in America?
The oldest Italian cheese shop.
Italian
I'm sure
cheese
that
shop.
There were some Quakers in the 1700s who sold cheese, but we're the oldest Italian cheese shop. 125 years this October.
125 years?
cow.
What do you want?
I'm getting mozzarella with prosciutto.
They're all.
Yeah, the roll.
I will take one of those too.
Just cheese and meat.
Joey Marone's grandparents immigrated in the late 1800s from Naples. He was born and raised in this neighborhood and has seen it change as new immigrants arrive.
I live a little more south, which is really heavily now, more Chinatown now. And they've become our customers now.
So you're constantly getting different people
Oh,
coming
yeah.
in here trying stuff.
You got food like this.
Yeah.
You're gonna attract just about anybody. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Well, it was nice
Yeah, this
meeting
is a
you.
pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Once we're back on the sidewalk, we take what you might call our longest and shortest hike ever, from Italy to China in just one block. The biggest wave of Chinese immigrants to America began in 1965, long after Ellis Island closed down. Today, Chinatown in Lower Manhattan is home to the largest enclave of Chinese in the Western Hemisphere. Immigrant communities often start out by recreating a patch of their old home. So here in Chinatown, there are grocery stores selling fruits and vegetables I've never seen before, but I've heard plenty about. Like this weird-looking fruit called durian.
I only know one thing about this. You either love it or hate it. So we'll find out.
Durian is mostly used in Asia as flavoring in sweet treats, from candy to milkshakes.
In its raw form, it smells like rotten meat or old gym socks.
What spurred you to want?
To try this?
Yes.
Because I never have.
It looks like a sea monster.
Even in Asia, it's banned in certain hotels and public transit because of its strong odor.
Take a look at this. First off, it sort of looks like an egg. Then it looks like the egg, you know, might have lived a little bit for a while.
And then died. and then dies.
All right.
Chinese ice cream. He says as he laughs and walks away. It is nice and cold.
It is.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's not good.
Almost a doughy style ice cream. Because it's really cold, it's doughy, it's not really chewy, but then you get that little hint of fruit followed by this intense nastiness.
The consistency of ice cream and the taste of evil.
Oh, we've got a whole plate.
You wanted it, it's all you.
It's not great. Oh. Oh. All right, that's that.
That's why you try new things, though. Now we know.
No durian.
No durian. Ever again.
Thanks to New York's open door for immigrants, you can travel the world just by exploring this city. Just about anywhere you look, you can see how immigrants' hopes and hard work have made this great city what it is today.
Got a ferry, 2 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and let him go in front of us.
Massive wake from said ferry, probable.
And we're gonna see it from a totally new perspective when we check out perhaps the most recognizable sign of freedom in the world, in a whole new way.
Oh, that's so cool.
Chelsea Piers is on the west side of Manhattan on the Hudson River. 100 years ago, some of the world's biggest ocean liners were coming and going from these piers. Even the Titanic was scheduled to dock here. Today, the only big ship in sight is the aircraft carrier Intrepid, a floating museum.
Hey.
Hi guys, I'm Luann.
We're at the pier next door, where we'll be launching out on a voyage of our own.
Ready to do some kayaking, although I will say we've never gone kayaking in an environment like this.
Most people haven't.
Our plan is to kayak 7 miles down the Hudson River, all the way to the Statue of Liberty. There's lots of river traffic, a strong tidal pull coming from the Atlantic Ocean, and tough security restrictions to be aware of.
Now, once we get there,
I hear we can't just pull right up to the island.
No. There is a security zone around it, and if we do go inside that zone, we're gonna get a nice little visit from the Coast Guard real quick, telling us to maybe back up a little.
Okay, so
good
we'll
to know.
avoid that.
Yes, we will.
But you'll still get pretty close.
When it comes to getting suited up and getting out on the water, this could be any kayaking trip. Except, of course, for having an aircraft carrier behind us.
Security check, this is Manhattan Kayak.
And having a guide checking in with the Coast Guard before we move out into the river traffic.
All right, guys, so while we're out on the river, we're gonna stay nice and close together, not get too far spread out,
Okay.
and we're gonna have a good time.
All right.
Okay.
Ready?
As the smallest boats on the water, we need to keep watch all the time.
I'm looking out, you know, it's like hiking in bear country. You're not the biggest animal out here.
We do have a ferry coming in from the north side over here.
Got a ferry, 2 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and let him go in front of us.
Massive wake from said ferry, probable.
We're no strangers to kayaking open water, but all this traffic and deeper swells are a bit unnerving.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Luann steers us closer to the Jersey side, where the traffic is lighter and the view back towards Midtown Manhattan is spectacular.
Man, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Being able to see the city from this vantage point, I can't help but reflect on the millions of people who lived here, building better lives and a better country at the same time.
Check that out. We've got the Empire State Building right there. And it's crazy to me to think that that thing was built in the 1930s.
And it was mostly built by immigrants. 3,500 people built it from the ground up, all 102 stories in just 16 months.
I've been here a few times before, but I've never seen it like that. It's beautiful from the water out here.
The farther we get downriver, the less time we have for sightseeing.
Man, we're picking up a lot of speed.
Yep.
Jeez.
That's the grip of the tide as it's getting stronger, pulling us towards the sea. Coming around the tip of Lower Manhattan, we enter New York Bay and everything changes.
Oh yeah, feel that wind picking up?
Yep.
That's the wind blowing in from the Atlantic.
It's like the wind is blowing from one direction and the current's trying to take you another.
Yep, exactly, which is what that kind of cross effect is where we're kind of getting these little bits of chop from. And the stronger the current gets, bigger that chop will be.
So we got Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty, and I also see tons and tons of boats.
Oh yeah, this is where it gets interesting.
And some of those boats are getting too close for comfort.
Oh man, we're getting real close.
We're kayaking down the Hudson River into New York Bay, between Lower Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty, pulled by the tide, pushed by the wind, and caught in a watery New York City rush hour.
All right, so we are getting closer and closer to the Statue of Liberty, and the boats are in abundance around us.
Yeah, we've got a ferry over there. We got NYPD. We've got another vessel coming towards us up there. Oh man, we're getting real close. This is nuts.
Nuts.
This is crazy.
Our guide Luann steers us to a place where the wind is quieter and the boats are fewer. These buoys mark the security zone around Liberty Island.
That's incredible. I don't know, not only to actually be seeing the Statue of Liberty this close, but to be seeing it from the water.
The Statue of Liberty faces out toward the open sea, raising her torch to a height of 305 feet as a welcome to people arriving on our shores.
And that's pretty amazing because if you think about the immigrants who were coming in here, that was kind of that image of hope.
Lady Liberty was a gift from the people of France, designed by the same man who built the Eiffel Tower. She arrived boxed up in 350 separate pieces and was assembled by a crew that included, you guessed it, lots of immigrant workers.
The statue was completed in October 1886. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. These lines from a poem called The New Colossus are inscribed inside the pedestal and were written as a message of hope and acceptance, much like Lady Liberty herself.
My great-great-grandfather would have seen this as he came to New York for the first time.
That's amazing to think that 3 generations later, you're out here on a kayak just having fun, checking it out.
And throughout all those years, it still means the exact same thing. Freedom.
Whether or not your ancestors came to America through New York, there are living reminders all throughout the United States that many of us come from someplace else. And remember,
Hey, if we can do it, so can you.
so the next chance you get, go out and rock the park.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.